Thank you.
And John B.
Good luck to you too.
Jumbalicious.
Delicious zombie loose.
Apparently we're live.
Okay, good.
Zombie loose.
Let's wait.
There's no one with us yet.
That's
a relief.
Sit on the edge. You go one in. I'm going to sit here.
Can we sit down?
Yep.
It's quite dark. I guess it's
How are we doing there, team?
Nice background, isn't it?
Is that working?
I don't know. I think
see all of us. It's
Can you see everyone?
I can
Just.
see you except your head. We don't really need that. We've got your shirt. That's plenty, I think.
Okay, let's just remember that we
what's
are
the screen
I
like?
can get my
Live on-
shades.
Sorry?
Can I go and get my shades?
It's freezing cold suddenly.
It's going to be chillier than last night, I think.
Mm.
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah, we're going to.
And the sound is definitely on. Yes, I guess.
So you can see if anyone's... Oh, someone has joined. Can you hear us?
Why does
How
it
did they
go
respond? By
lighter?
text, yeah?
Yeah.
I'm just
I
looking
think we should
forward.
move forward
I think we should move forward
because it's lighter.
because if
Yeah.
we get closer,
And we can.
you see.
Oh, there we go. Come on then. Pile in,
Yes.
team.
Pile in,
Yeah,
team.
yeah.
Pile in.
Sorry.
Hands. Oh, did I just squash your hand forward?
Was that John B's foot?
That might have been. You got it.
Eliza, why don't you come and sit here? Because I think we need you front and center.
Oh, look, that's...
No, I don't think so at all.
I know I do,
I
actually.
don't. I'm going to
Oh,
sit
do you
here.
want
I'm going
us
to just
to
lean
sit?
in. There we are. Much better.
All right. Tell you what.
There you go. Sorry to ask a
I'll
stupid
lean in
question,
like
but
this.
how
What?
do we know that there's somebody there?
Look, because there, you see, there's a one
there
person
we go.
there.
Hi there. How are you
Hi.
doing? Welcome.
Welcome.
Thanks for coming to watch us. Sorry, you
Yeah.
can tell I'm
You
not
might
the
be the-
technical one.
You
here.
might be the only one here. Hang on.
Yeah, but all the more welcome for that.
Absolutely.
Two people.
Two people.
Good.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
So please go ahead. If you've got any
Good
great
grammar
questions,
and
please go ahead
spelling.
and type them for us in the comments.
Yep, in the comments.
And we'll do our best to answer them as best we can.
It's dark, isn't it? Where's the brightness on the... Oh, we're maximum bright.
Maximum bright.
Hmm.
There you go.
Come in closer, team, I think.
John, you go first so I don't chop your
Yeah.
hand off. Go.
Sorry, yeah, you go first. In you go.
He's a bit nervous. Okay, get your hand out.
Do you know why? It's dark because of all that.
Right, Sky.
Right,
There we go.
Look
There
there.
you go.
Oh, there we go.
That was nice.
Yay.
Well done.
Yeah.
Now,
Just
let me
want
do
to
that.
huddle.
Yeah, good.
Okay, good.
Should we
Oh,
So-
turn off the generator?
And it's gone
Oh,
dark.
numbers in my generator.
Why does it go dark? It goes light when Paul puts your face in.
It
Three
must-
people. Hi.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Hang on, we are just going to come to you any moment now. We're just warming up.
Hit next there, Paul.
Thank you.
Funny how it keeps
Just
going
warming
light
up.
and
Do we need to do some vocal exercises to make sure we're...
John B, maybe you want to do a repeat of the elephant noise? I don't want to do that.
with trunk. Ears.
Right.
Hi. Welcome.
If anyone, we're just sort of warming up here. If anyone's got a question or would like to say hello or anything like that, then just down there, I think it is, just type something in.
For their screen, it'll be down there.
Oh, for
So,
their
yeah.
their
Oh,
screen will
someone
be
just
down
said
there.
hi. Hi,
Oh, good.
hi.
Hello.
Oh, it's good. Oh, Joyce and Hicks family. Well,
Hey.
there you go. Yeah, we knew that one would be first. Hey, Ricky, how you doing?
Oh, what happened to the ostrich?
Oh, hi, Bubba. Cool.
Okay.
What was that? That's my family there.
Is it?
Yeah.
What happened to the ostrich?
It's
Yeah,
basically
well,
going to be
yeah.
a big.
Yeah.
It's going to be a big.
So why don't you answer? 'Cause
chirping.
you saw it.
I'm not sure what happened after you guys after they stopped filming. I don't know what happened. Did
No,
they
you
just?
weren't there.
No,
Oh, you weren't
the
there.
They
ostrich
just
took
walked
off.
Yeah.
And then the cheetah also took its own way.
Yeah.
So
So,
the cheetah went one way and the
and the
ostrich
ostrich
went
took
the other way.
Yes.
So they went their separate ways. So we've had a couple of comments actually from people about behaviours where cheetah do hunt ostrich. There was a coalition of brothers in Samburu National Park that were regularly taking down ostrich, and a single cheetah in Savo West, I think it was. This was courtesy of Colin Beale, and that also took down ostriches. But I'd say that's super unusual. Ostrich is big, dangerous prey for a cheetah.
Oh
to
yes,
try, wouldn't you
oh
say?
yes, yeah, because of the kick.
Yeah,
You know, they have
Mm.
And
Yeah,
both of
really.
you said you'd never seen that kind of a dance like that, where
no,
they
no, we haven't.
never
We
seen that.
haven't.
So that was
Yeah.
a very rare sighting.
Ostrich have this massive, great foot. If you're ostrich and
If you're-
Asterix and Obelix fans, you know the Gaulish, those funny feet there. It looks like that with a huge toe off to one side and a massive claw at the end. You get kicked by one.
Hi
of them.
Kevin.
Hello,
Hi
Kevin.
Kevin.
Jazzy.
Good to see you.
Okay, so we're gonna start
And
in
Seven Oaks.
47 seconds. Oh, look, live now. Okay, I see. Okay, that's cool. Hello from Seven Oaks. Hi, Robags. Still wanting to know why you can't find a snake. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, I'm
look,
quite
there
happy
we are.
about that.
Look, see that we're on that one.
Okay,
We're
all
on
right.
that one.
Don't
Okay,
get
that's a bit
confused.
weird.
Don't
Yes,
confuse me.
yes.
No, I
Okay.
don't. I'm
About
very
snakes,
amazed.
John,
You know
go
what?
for it.
Okay,
Go.
I'm actually going to leave that.
Snakes are not quite easy to be found or seen because they have a very, very sensitive organ. So they can feel anything, any vibration that is coming toward their way. So they always run away. You can go on safari or tent safari without seeing a snake. You'll be very, very lucky to see a snake.
When was
That's
the last
true.
time you saw a snake then?
I don't remember.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I saw one on my last safari.
Good.
Yeah.
But you saw what, and you
but,
remember.
but the safari before that, no. The
Yeah.
safari before that, no.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
very
It's a
lucky.
bit of a stand-up thing, isn't it?
All right. So it is now 6:01. So we're going to start officially. And we have the first question for Jombi. Julie Gross from Germany asks, is it common to see so many cheetahs in the Serengeti?
The answer is yes. It is common to see cheetahs in the Serengeti, particularly in the region where we are right now. The region where we are, it's a really area that hold a huge habitats of cheetah that exists in the Serengeti. But you may see in some other places, but it's probably.
More
Okay.
difficult. Yeah.
All right. So that's good. And we've been very lucky.
We
We have been
Yeah.
very,
Yeah, we
very
should have,
lucky.
yeah.
All
As
right.
always.
We're lucky as well.
Indeed. Right. Ricardo Manjula, forgive me if I got the spelling wrong, and Simoni, and some others, a couple of others, I think, I can't remember their names, with no visitors here in the Serengeti when they're in wildlife behavior.
Actually, I was going to say, no, I've just thought of one. I don't know if you remember from the first episode, that cheetah that was hunting that killed the Grant's gazelle. She was actually using the road
Yes.
in order to
Yeah,
approach.
yeah,
I've forgotten that incident. She was using the road because the road's down. There's a big bank to one side. So she was moving along the road and then popping up her head, looking over and figuring out how much closer she could get using the road. And that way she got very close to that gazelle before she made her charge. So that was one notable difference. Apart from that, I'd say no. There were a couple of times when we thought we were looking at it, but there were other reasons that would explain the behavior that we saw.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, good
Yeah,
answer.
thank you.
All right, thank you. If it
Great
goes
question,
on much
by the way.
longer, then maybe. I mean, how long do you think we'd need this to go on for before we'd see wildlife change behavior?
Well, you would see, for instance, the cubs we saw. They'll be growing up without lots of vehicles around, so you'd expect them to be more skittish than their parents.
Yeah.
Those zebra copies cubs.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because their parents were used to seeing vehicles regularly,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
thousands certainly, but certainly daily.
Yeah.
But these cubs presumably will spend these next few months without seeing very many, and then we'll see. Then we'll start to see.
Okay, interesting. There's a question for me, but I'm going to dip in very quickly to Kevin Doherty.
Yeah.
Hello from New Jersey. Hi from the Serengeti. Have you seen any leopards yet? No.
No.
Have we seen any leopards?
Boo.
No.
No,
Okay.
I love photographing leopards, Kevin, and I'm very much hoping that next series we're going to get to see a leopard. Fingers crossed,
Can I chip in?
if you must.
I know that
Oh,
Paul is
no.
desperate to spot a leopard. There's only one problem. They're already spotted.
Oh, God, he just
Oh,
doesn't
so you
stop.
can't
He
stop.
doesn't
Sorry,
stop.
My
Imagine.
apologies. Sorry,
And we've
this
had
is
to
the serious one.
we've had to live with this for ages. Jess Wong has asked me a question. What camera equipment do I use? I use Nikon cameras. I use D5 DSLR bodies, and I have a 180 to 400 f4 with a built-in 1.4 teleconverter, taking it up to 560 millimeters at f5.6. Great lens. And I also have a 70 to 200 2.8. I have a 24 to 70 2.8. I use a little Fuji sometimes if I'm short on weight. And I have a very nice pair of binoculars, which is very important. So I think that answers your question, Jess, I hope.
Sorry. So we've got 4 lovely eagles,
I'm
probably
just
5.
looking. I
Yeah.
know.
Probably
Look,
eagles
right
circling
above us.
over the hill.
Can see it's
Because I think they're
gorgeous.
going to
Trying
come
to
and
get
roost
these guys to
somewhere here,
focus
but
is
it's just lovely
impossible.
having these guys circling
have
over.
a-
My apologies.
All right.
My apologies.
Okay.
Concentrate, Mr.
All right.
Sorry.
Okay, so
Saying
we've done
this
that.
all
Right.
week.
Okay. All right. So one more question. This one for Eliza. Doug from Melbourne asks Eliza, what camera equipment do you use as a filmmaker?
Okay, well, we have quite a selection of kit on this job. The main camera,
Don't drop it, Eliza.
don't drop it, is this,
Beast.
which is a Canon C200. Video camera only, doesn't do still. So we've been using this a lot, sometimes handheld, sometimes on a tripod or a monopod.
She even let me use it earlier on
I
today.
did, very, very nervous.
Careless.
And I don't touch it.
He doesn't know. And then we've got an Osmo Plus, which is a little steady cam, and that's often for the driving footage. That's brilliant. It means you won't get airsick if the car's bouncing around like this. And then we've got the most,
iPhone 11.
which is absolutely
He's got
brilliant.
shares
I
in the
have to
company.
say he
Yeah.
does.
And
I'm about to
actually,
The
buy
best.
one.
actually, if anyone has any spare iPhone 11 Pros, you know,
Pros, definitely
Yeah.
Pros. With love. And then Paul also has an iPhone. So it's a selection. And both of these two also have Canon. So we're kind of Canon. And
Nico.
Nikon, come
He
on.
wishes he had a Canon, but one of these days.
He's-
One of
You'd
this
like to
day,
be
we will
called
convert
by the-
him. We will
No.
convert him.
No, you won't. Never. Okay.
So
All right,
that's
team. So so let's just have a look who's coming in. Hello from the Grants in Bath.
Hey there, how
It's
you
a
guys
huge
doing?
pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Hi, buddies.
Oh, this is a good one. Who can make the best cheetah noise out of all 4 of you?
Okay, it's got to be 3. I would have no idea.
Definitely John B.
John B.
Definitely,
No.
definitely John B.
No, I can't. I
Come on.
can't.
What's the cheetah noise?
It's very high chip
Yeah.
sound.
Can I do mine first?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Okay, you ready? Listening?
Yeah.
Okay, everyone listen. Yeah, surely.
Big no.
Surely.
Big no.
Okay,
Very
good.
do your
No.
cheetah noise then.
Can you
I
try?
don't think I can get that high, but very high pitch.
Very high chip. Very,
Okay.
very.
No, I can't
Okay.
get
Okay,
that high.
breathe.
Okay,
Yeah.
so sorry, Toby. No, hope mine's the best. I think.
But I think the way I think what we need to say, even higher than that,
Yeah.
way it's you could probably do it really well. You're the right age group. It's a very unexpected noise for a big cat, and they do it. It's a contact call, and you sometimes when a family's been split up and they're distressed and trying to call each other, a mother calling for a lost cub and things like that. So that it can be sad when you hear it.
Even brothers, like
and the
a
brothers,
coalition of
remember
brothers.
the 2
Yes,
guys?
yeah.
Yeah, up in
They
the
do
north.
that,
Yeah.
Okay, so that's your cheetah noise. Karen asks, what happened to the ostrich and the cheetah? Anyone?
What?
Anyone?
Yeah.
John B.
Yeah,
They
well, the cheetah took its own way and the ostrich took its own way. There was no, if you look at the episode, the ostrich was more sort of courtship displaying. It didn't really look the cheetah as harm. After she found that the body language of the cheetah was not going for harm as well. So they both have split it and took its own way, which is a completely behavior that we have never seen it.
Sure, sure.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, thanks. John B. Ricardo, question for you. Steve Grant. Oh, hi, more Grants in Bath.
They're all
Are they all are you all in the bath? Do giraffes make any noise? If so, what do they sound like?
They do. I don't think I've ever heard one. They do. It's very rare for them to make a noise, and it's said to be a kind of a low mooing sound, again a distress sound. So almost never.
Okay.
Anybody heard it?
No.
Anybody?
No.
I did.
No.
Yeah, you did.
I did hear
So
in
that was it,
Roha.
was
I
it?
did hear in Roha, yes.
And why was it distress?
They saw lions along the riverbank. And as you know, in Roha, lions do go for big prey
Oh yeah.
because they're big
Yeah.
number of, prides. So we saw this giraffe, and suddenly he just made that call, which
Wow.
I have never
I've never heard.
heard of it. So he went like,
Great.
and he went like 3 times, alerting all the other giraffe, and they all stood up and looked the direction where they are receiving the warning.
Cool.
Hi, Elichilia Mela, I see you on. Big up to you as well. Welcome on show.
Very good, very good. That's so great. It's very nice to see you all. Hang on a sec. There we go. I've got the sticking
Brett,
with.
good to see you.
Okay, just
Brett is
sticking
the one
with
that was birding, yeah.
sticking with giraffes.
Yeah.
What are the knobs on the giraffe's head? Are they horns? Question from Diane Humphrey.
Did you want me to do that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so giraffe, they're their own family, and so that we usually call them horns. We describe them as horns, but properly they're called ossicones. The difference being that a true horn would be a bony projection on the skull, like a cow has, covered in a sheath of black keratin. Yeah, or a buffalo or any of the antelopes would have that. Whereas a giraffe has the same bony projection, but covered in skin and fur.
Okie dokie.
Okay.
All right. Does that answer the question?
I don't know, I hope
Does
so.
that answer your question?
That's all I've got.
All right, very good. Very nice meeting.
Big shout there.
Right.
To-
Mshana, nice to see you. Thanks for coming on. Okay, sorry, we've answered that. I'm not going to answer that. My sister's being rude.
Don't let that one go
Yeah,
down.
there's
How?
another one.
A very good question from Rohan Shah. How do elephants cool themselves? How do elephants cool themselves?
do you wanna go?
Yeah, do you know I'd like to?
Go,
Yes.
go.
Okay, so there's various ways that elephants cool themselves. Usually, when they sit down, they turn the fan on or the air conditioning, and that's one of the ways that
He's
they.
right.
Okay, sorry. Facetious aside, elephants. One of the ways they flap their ears. Okay, they flap their ears, and behind their ears. If you ever seen, and I've got very small ears, obviously, so you won't see behind mine. I got very small ears, but they have these very big blood vessels, and so all the blood is pumping through their body and around, comes to their ears, and then the blood's really close to the surface. So they're flapping their ears, and that's cooling the blood in their ears, and so then that's sending cool blood through their body. I'm getting a funny look from Richard. So anyway, so that's one of the ways that they cool themselves. They spray themselves with water, dust, mud baths. What
They
else?
quite often throw the water and the mud behind their ears
Yeah,
to
yes.
benefit.
To benefit. Yeah.
Because that's where the blood vessels are closest to the skin,
Yeah.
and the ears are a very large percentage of the total surface area of the skin, something crazy like 20-30%.
Another advantage that the elephants have, that if you look at the skin, have a lot of wrinkles. That when they wallow themselves into the mud, those little gaps between wrinkles will hold the mud. So when they walk through, when the wind blows, it helps them cools down, as those mud that are in the gaps doesn't really dry quickly. That also helps them from parasitic, like ticks. You see them rubbing themselves through trees, like as we showed
Earlier,
on earlier on the last episode. Yeah, so there are so many behavior that can help, or animals do adapt, either for cooling themselves or to avoid themselves from parasites.
Cool.
Hi, Alifa from lockdown. I hope you are out.
Okay, very good. So we have got a great question from Ali Chilia. I'm about to lose you. Let me just try and bring you back. Do cheetahs have different hind leg muscles compared to other cats? Anyone know? That's a very
Anybody?
difficult question.
My guess would be yes.
Yes.
if you think of the differences between leopard behavior and cheetah behavior, leopards' power, climbing trees, dragging. I mean, a friend of mine once saw a baby giraffe had been dragged up a tree. Imagine the power you need to take to take that up there with all those dangly bits.
Yeah.
Whereas a cheetah is all about speed. So probably the difference between a marathon runner, those long stringy muscles, as opposed to a boxer. But I'm purely guessing.
I think, let me just stop on you on that.
Please.
We have seen mostly cheetah run, and they sprint, and they use their rear legs to push, propel them from. So I'll suggest it's a yes.
Yeah.
It's a yes.
I would imagine so.
Yes.
If we find anything more, we'll. How are we going to send feedback on Facebook or something? How will we do it?
Yeah, so we'll answer any extra information we'll put down here on the YouTube comments and also on Facebook.
Of course we will.
Okay.
Thanks.
Very good. Great question, Elicilia. All right. Professor Cow. Okay.
Scary.
Sorry?
So, as soon as you hear professor in front of anything.
Oh, I know. Well,
Yes.
he's a very nice chap. He has about 76 letters after his name. Prof. Cow. Fabulous filming of the cheetah and ostrich. Do you think the ostrich would have behaved as boldly if it had been a leopard?
Well, thoughts?
I will think yes. I'll go for a yes.
A yes? Okay,
I'll
yes.
go for a yes, because if you look at the episode, the body language of a cheetah, the movements, it's totally different from a leopard. And I'm sure a leopard will have probably even do an attempt, like chase that ostrich.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I'll guess so.
I've certainly seen in the Ndutu area, again in southern Serengeti, not too far from where we are, I found an ostrich skeleton hoisted up a tree, obviously by a leopard.
Oh, wow.
That was, a full-size skeleton as well.
Whoa.
So leopards clearly hunt them. We do know from feedback we've had here that cheetah also hunt the ostrich occasionally, but I'd say very rare.
I've witnessed an attempt.
You have?
Due to not far from here. Yes.
On a full-grown adult
Yes.
ostrich?
They were full-grown female. Yeah.
All right,
Cool.
very good.
Very cool.
Good question
Very
there,
good
Prof. Cow. And then, so Prof. Cow's also asking, is it unusual to see owls in daylight? Is that unusual to see owls in daylight?
Who's going? Do you want to?
Well, in our scenario, Prof. Cow, we didn't see an owl in daylight, but you do see.
We did.
No. Sorry, I'm referring to a different time.
Okay.
Sorry, that
You need to go with a real guide next time.
please don't listen. So you do see owls parked up in trees. I mean, do you see them hunting very often or flying about? We've seen a couple, haven't we, this time?
Yes.
Occasionally.
Yeah.
I
Occasionally,
think you see like we saw the other day, Vero's eagle owls, because of the habitat. They live in this relatively open acacia woodland. And so even when they're sitting up in the day, just taking it easy, yes, you can see them.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they usually only fly when they're startled, maybe by a passing vehicle or mobbed by birds. But just about an hour ago, a couple of hours ago, we were hearing pearl-spotted owl. For those of you who don't know, it's a lovely call on episode 2. That's Dawn 3.
3,
Yes.
I think.
I sit corrected.
Starting with dawn in camp and the morning wake up and the
that
owl.
lovely whistling
pearl-spotted.
call going up, up, up. That was a pearl-spotted owlet. And yes, you
Beautiful.
often hear them calling. We heard them, like as I say, 2 or 3 hours ago. There we go.
Watch out, we're going to
Was something going to come and land on our head?
Yeah.
Okay, so following on from that, there's a question from Rowena. Jombi makes the best animal noises ever. For all the kids watching, could he please make a lion roar?
Ooh.
Come on, come
Jombi.
on, make it a goodie. Come on, make it a goodie.
Probably I'll start with the cub.
Come on.
Yeah.
Ow. 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 Ow.
Good.
Nice.
That's brilliant.
Now let's go for
No,
full-
go.
Okay,
Okay.
we need
Mega
more
male.
players.
Mega male.
Mega. Okay.
Okay, get ready. Vocals.
Ow.
Yeah, good.
Yeah,
Well done.
very nice.
Well
Yeah,
done.
bravo. Round of applause.
Round of
Well done,
applause.
John B.
Well done.
Nice, nice. Right. Okay.
Hello, Joshy.
Lots of questions coming in. Hello to all the Tompkins. Hi, Pat. Okay, very good. Hang on a sec. There was just a good question from here. Are there any benefits to having no people in the Serengeti? No, we're not going to answer that question.
Why not?
We are going to answer that question. All right, go ahead, Ricardo.
I mean, selfishly, it's lovely having the Serengeti to ourselves, but I think that's the only benefit from a purely subjective, selfish point of view. It's great seeing it like this, like I first saw it 30 years ago, or even more, even fewer people than that. But overwhelmingly, the answer is it's not a benefit.
No.
There's just nothing coming in. All the money that would usually support conservation and all the valuable work that. Listen. Too distant.
Too distant. I think.
There was a pearl-spotted owlet calling there.
Yeah.
Maybe
Well,
I can
you called him in.
Okay.
Right. A great question from Rohan here. Why are lions the only big cats with manes? Ricardo. Well, we should probably give that one to Eliza, really. Just for a laugh.
I'm sure I can come up with a brilliant answer.
Yeah.
You like a dark maned lion, do you?
Yeah.
Why are they the only one? All right. It is that the mane has a couple of functions. One of which is to protect their heads in fights. The big male lions, when they're fighting for territories, they do go in for big fights, which sometimes result in the death of one or other of the participants. And the mane will help actually cushion the blows.
The protection.
So it can be a
John B.
protection
talked
thing.
about that.
Exactly, we had that on.
Yeah.
I can't remember which episode.
Yeah.
The other really important thing is for sexual selection. So at some point in the distant past, lions will have started developing a little bit of a mane, and the lady lions will have taken one look at that and saying, "Oh, we rather like that." And as soon as that process starts going on, then the more mane you have, the better success you have at mating. The more females will look for you. What's interesting is there are also disadvantages, as usual. So if you live in a hot part of the world, the mane actually cooks your brain. So you'll see in low-lying hot areas, males do not develop big manes.
Oh, that's a good
Really
question.
interesting.
So that also,
Oh, who'd have thought?
very good question, Rohan. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
That
thank you.
brings
Great
me
one.
on to the next question from James, who's age 7. What's the difference between a leopard and a jaguar? This is a one for you. This was a question sent in from us to us. What is the difference between a leopard and a jaguar?
Okay.
Which connects with what you
There are
just said.
several. Okay, there's spelling. Sorry. The first thing is which continent are you on? Because jaguars live in South and Central America. Used to be up into I think they're still in the southern USA. Yes, they are. I'll go with yes. Whereas leopards are in Africa and Asia. So then the jaguar's bigger with a broader muzzle, more powerful head, sort of a very squat, muscular build and a shorter tail. And then another interesting one is we've got all this cheetah footage, and the cheetah's got those simple spots, just dot spots. Whereas a leopard has got rosettes, these little clusters of spots with a pale center, which we call rosettes. It's a good description. Jaguars have the same pattern, but apparently they've got spots in the middle of the rosette. So you've got the rosette with a pale center with spots on the pale center. I've never actually seen a jaguar, so
That is exactly.
Yeah, I've seen one.
You've seen
You
it?
have.
Yes.
Huh. So why am I answering this?
That's a very good question.
You did it very well.
Yeah,
did it
okay.
very well.
Well
Well,
done. So, James, I hope that answers your question. If it doesn't, email Richard. Okay, Michelle asks, hi from Ottawa in Canada. Wow.
Hi, Michelle.
I took a safari before. What different safaris do you offer, and where can I find more information? Sorry, that was the wrong question. But we will send you some information on that, Michelle.
Yeah.
Also a question from Daryl.
By the way, thank you very much for that.
Yeah, sorry, that was a really
we
good.
need you. The Serengeti needs you.
Yeah, definitely. We really do.
When you come back, you'll be doing both us personally, but also conservation a great favor.
Yeah, thank you, Michelle. Daryl asks, what would you how long would you recommend for a first-time safari? And what else would you recommend to do in Tanzania alongside a Serengeti safari? Oh,
Tanzania has a lot to offer.
Tanzania has a
Eliza much.
Yeah, what's your favorite place to go in Tanzania, Liza?
My favorite place of all has always been Katavi National Park in Western Tanzania.
If it's your first safari.
No, along with the Serengeti.
Yes,
So if you do the Serengeti,
Yeah.
then for me, it would always be Katavi National Park, which is very remote. Takes a long time to get there, but it's one of the most beautiful places.
Yeah.
Also Ruaha. I love Ruaha. Huge baobab trees, massive views, great big skies. I'm all about the big skies, and baobabs are beautiful.
Yep. John B. John.
Yeah, I will say Tanzania in general has a lot to offer in broad. But generally, if it's your first safari, I will suggest Serengeti should be a must-see for anyone who is doing the
definitely.
first safari.
I think we've established that. Yeah.
And there are so many other parks that you can also include the Serengeti, the Ngorongoro crater, which is just right behind us. You have Tarangire National Park, which it can be impacted on the same itinerary. That is doable. The length of the safari may start from 7 days, 10 days, 14 days, 21. It depends on
The more the merrier.
Yeah.
yeah the more time you have, and also your budget.
Yeah.
Of course.
Okay, good. Great question, Daryl. Thanks. And I'm glad you like my shirt. Joyce. Joyce asks.
Called Eliza.
No, Joyce.
Oh,
asks,
sorry.
And she sent me a nudge. Very quickly, to go back to an earlier discussion, who's fastest in a race, the cheetah or the ostrich?
We will say a cheetah.
I think so.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
A cheetah.
Very good.
A cheetah will take off for 60 miles per hour for a very short distance. And the ostrich may go up to 35 miles per hour. Yeah, so it's faster animal.
Yep.
That make the cheetah is the fastest land mammal.
Okay, very good answer. There you go. Joyce, thank you, Karen. Lisa, a photography question. Which shot did you really want but miss, and why did you miss it?
I know.
That's a good question.
I think there's been a few of those moments for all of us.
So Lisa, there have been a couple of moments. I think we may even have talked about this in the past, but I was with some guests and we were photographing a serval that was hunting in the Serengeti, and it was in slightly long grass, and I was standing through the roof hatch in the front of the car, and it had sat down, and I thought it was stationary for a while, so I had a big 600mm fixed lens, so I put it down, and as I was picking up my other shorter lens, the serval pounced on the back of a reed buck. And obviously a reed buck is not anywhere near anything like what a serval is going to have for his supper. So the reed buck jumped up and the serval was on its back. So the vision of it is ingrained in my memory because I didn't photograph it. So maybe that's a good thing. But it's always a flaw in my professional wildlife photographic career, and I swore never to make the same mistake again. I'm sure I will. But that, Lisa, is my worst nightmare. Thank you. Eliza, have you got any big filming flaws?
No, well, on this trip, actually, there was the scene, I can't remember which episode it was, with the lions. I think it might have been episode 2, and we had lions right by the car. And I had your 100, 400 mil lens, and the lion was coming towards me and got too close and came right to the car. And I would have literally have had to lean out and point the camera down at it.
You get your
So
hand
I didn't
bitten
get
off.
the shot because it was too close, which was a real bummer. But luckily, these guys were behind and photographed the car with the lion. So it was a good double act.
Yeah.
Do you
I
want to
missed
tell
it.
us about missing anything, Ricardo?
Yeah,
Recently?
recently. Like on this trip, you mean?
Maybe. Day 1,
Yeah.
I think it was.
Day one. That
We were so-
hunting cheetah, and
Oh, yes.
I decided that the cheetah wasn't about to do anything very soon, and so I took my eye off the ball or the cheetah or whatever, and suddenly she was it was him, wasn't it? That first cheetah was
Yeah.
a boy.
Mm.
Yes.
A
Was a
young
she.
boy.
It was a she.
It was a she.
Mm.
It was a she. Then
Yeah.
took off and just went straight for the gazelle. And as I was desperately trying to focus and get on it, I caught the last little flurry, but nothing serious. So, yeah, that really annoyed me.
Mm.
Oh well.
Those
Yeah.
moments do tend to haunt, and you relive them at night sometimes and
Come forward a
curse.
little bit, old chap. There you go.
And
You're
hope they
losing
don't
you down
happen
the hill. Right, I think we're beginning to draw to a close. It's getting a bit dark. We've got Itai Shani asks, what about getting some umbuamwito? John B, what are umbuamwito?
What is the Mbwamwitu? It's Lycaon pictus.
Yep.
It's more likely it's a African hunting dog. Some people will call it the African painted dog, and it's one of the most endangered species. So on this trip, we haven't been able to see any because we haven't heard any news where they have been seen recently. We have tried to go to some areas where sometimes could be seen, but we haven't get any chance to see them.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
So, I mean,
Mm.
we would have loved to have seen them, but they're very
Yes.
mobile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other things like, for instance, lions are very territorial, and we know areas where particular prides live. And so you go to those areas with the expectation, or at least the hope of seeing them. Whereas dogs, you could see them here one day, and the next they could be 30, 40 kilometers away.
All right.
So, no luck.
Thank you very much. Right, we are going to end. Oh, we got a nice Barahura sent in a great question. What is the average size of a lion's territory?
Average size.
Average.
size.
Oh,
Such a
difficult.
complicated. Great
Yes.
question.
Yes,
Great
it is a
question.
Great question. Yep.
I think that's one for my friend.
Yeah, Brett, you have been on safari with me many times. That is a little bit complex, but it depends on the size of the pride and region area. For example, you have small cluster of prides of lion, the Marsh, the Longali, and Masek, and this is a very small territory for lions to compete. So you end up having male lions taking over all that territory because they cannot share with other males because of the size. Some other places like the central part of Serengeti, you have large area, which I wouldn't really give you exact figure of either, I wouldn't say it's 20 miles or 30 miles. This one we will dig in and find out, and I'll get back to you on that one.
All right, very
Yeah.
good. Right, so as you can see, it is. Oh, that's a bit better. Look, it's getting a bit dark. I'm going to
Yeah.
shuffle over to try. I think you see what happened there is my shirts came in, and then suddenly everything got brighter. You see?
And mine
That's
comes
basically-
close and it gets darker.
Yeah, you see. That's basically these shirts make everyone brighter.
Is that what they're
Yeah,
Yeah,
for?
but we
Yeah.
had a lot of
Thanks
bees
for
today.
filming us.
Yeah, we did have a lot of bees.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are drawing to a close. I just had a very good question for. Hang on a sec. Completing the sequence of filming and TV where you're in the middle of the Serengeti, has the challenge been greater than you expected? Thanks for all the efforts. That's from Pat Smith. Eliza.
Eliza, this is one for
Um,
you.
Has it been good? What I've been really lucky about is having 3 really good photographer filmmakers here. So
They've
they're-
just headed out.
they've just
So-
left. They
They've
just
gone
left
out
and I'm
instead.
left with these 3. No, so everybody's contributing. But yes, turning around a film every day, starting the edit around midday, and I usually finish quite late, but with huge support. It's a real team effort. I sit with my computer and work away, and they bring me tea and
White
then
wine.
supper and then white
Vodka.
wine, vodka, and then whatever I need. They're looking after me so well. So yes, it's been quite a challenge turning around a film every day.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Oh my
got-
gosh. Really
gosh.
well.
Oh my god!
A
And I
massive-
had,
Really
speaking
well.
for myself,
All right.
speaking for myself, I had no idea how much work was involved in editing these. Oh, what 10-minute movie every day? It'll be a
Yeah.
doddle.
Mm.
You should see what this lady has done. She's worked absolute miracles to turn out these things. I don't know how she's still sane.
No,
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
agree.
sure I am.
Eliza,
Yeah, you did.
But-
you're the best.
Yeah.
Well done. And amazing
Thank you.
filmmakers all over
But-
the world at this moment are thinking,
Thank you.
wow.
Is she mad?
Is she
I
mad?
wouldn't
Oh
do
yeah,
that.
she is.
She is.
I'll let you know
Oh.
in a week.
So we agree with all of you who are saying how amazing Eliza is. I'm just going to ask,
Aw.
before we tie up, I'm just going to answer a couple of questions quickly. Luke and Jess ask whether a baby giraffe would be taller than them. The answer is yes. A baby giraffe is how tall?
6 feet if you deal in feet, bit under 2 meters, 1.80 m if your metric system.
So basically, Luke and Jess, a baby giraffe when it's born is taller than Amy, your mama. Okay, that answers that one. Isn't that fun?
Can see the
Okay,
lion sneaking behind you.
we don't use drones in the parks because they're not allowed.
Mm.
And then I think we're now
And we don't break the rules, do we?
we never ever break the
Thank you
rules.
very much.
Nope.
And probably we can also add that in any episode that they might have seen we are off-roading because we had a permit.
Special
Mm.
Yes,
permit, yeah.
We had
exactly.
a special permit to
Yeah.
do the job we did.
Yeah.
So
Good.
the park has given that permit so that we can provide the footage that we had. But it doesn't mean that if you come on safari, you won't see what we have been showing. You still get some amazing
Yep.
review.
Okay,
Yes,
so to wrap up, we have 2 questions. All right. Sorry if you asked a question on the side there and we didn't get to it. You can
Give us a nudge, and we'll
give us
try
a
and get back
nudge
to it
and
in
we'll
the
get back to you in the comments and or on Facebook or email, something like that. But our penultimate question is Matthew, who's 4 years old. He says, are there tigers in the Serengeti?
Eliza?
Eliza, are there tigers?
No, there are none.
There are
No,
none.
no.
Okay.
Even I can answer.
Even
that.
you
there
can
are
answer.
no tigers in the
Wouldn't that be
Serengeti.
amazing if we had tigers? in the
Oh,
world?
that
We
would
had
be
a
amazing.
tiger. Oof.
So Matthew, we don't have tigers, sadly, in the Serengeti. John B, where are the global tiger
The
populations?
global tigers are found in Asia and Russia, about the Siberian tigers. So those are the areas that are found. Yeah, but
Mm.
if you want to see tigers, you have to go to Asia or Russia.
An interesting factoid, I think they crossed, I think in the last ice age when there was that land bridge between Russia and Alaska. And I believe they were in Alaska for a while, so in North America for
Oh,
a while,
wow.
and then they
Oh,
died
yeah.
out.
Wow.
I believe that's right.
All right. I
Not my
just
area.
before our last question from Nikki, I really want to interject this other question from where is it? Harry, who's age 9. He says zebras
Mhm.
are black with white stripes. Is this correct? And this is a really interesting one.
There's been a
Ricardo.
lot of
debate.
There's been a lot
Lots
of
of debate about it.
Yes, it's like this.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So we are wrapping up,
Yeah.
but we're going to have this question, then one more after that.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Mm.
Yeah, so very complicated one. Apparently, baby zebras developing fetuses are all black, and even an adult zebra, if you shaved. Has anybody here shaved a zebra recently? I know
That's not a euphemism
No.
for anything.
Stop it!
No,
no, it's
no,
not.
no one shaves a
Yeah.
zebra.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
So if you shave a zebra, even under the white skin, apparently it's got black skin, which I never knew actually. So what it is, the hair follicles in the skin have these special cells that produce melanin, the stuff that make things black. So Jombi's got a lot of melanin in his skin. I've got much less of it because my ancestors came from northern climates. So we didn't need it so much there. And so in the white stripes, those cells that produce the melanin, the black pigment, have been switched off in order to aid with that special camouflage of zebras, which we should go into in a later episode.
Yeah.
The way zebras try
Good.
to act,
Yeah.
which is very interesting.
I'll
And
put that in
quite a
my
complicated
notes.
Yeah.
question.
Yeah.
Thank you. Great question.
Yeah,
Yeah,
really great
thank you.
question,
Really
Harry. Age
Fantastic.
9.
Really made us
Wow.
cry for that one.
Harry, I hope you end up as a conservationist. That's a great
Or a
question.
guide.
Yeah.
Or a guide.
Or a
Or a
guide.
wildlife photographer.
Oh, guide.
Or a filmmaker.
Or filmmaker, yes.
Okay. So this is the last question. And while we go through this question, if you are looking forward to our next series, please give us a thumbs up. I think over there, isn't it? Or is it over here? I never quite know where it is. Anyway, so Nikki Tompkins writes,
Hi, Nikki.
what can we do to support conservation when we can't get to the Serengeti immediately? So that's a great question because all 4 of us are rabid conservationists. We're really, really passionate about looking after the world and the climate and the wildlife. And so what can we do to support conservation? Anybody? Because we do have an idea, don't we?
Yeah, we do. We do. There is an initiative between the Tanzania National Park and the Frankfurt Zoological Society. They are the main partners that we could suggest the funds should go to them. And remind you that Tanzania has really been doing a lot of work through conservation, increasing more national park and dog patrolling, anti-snaring. So there is an initiative that could be done on that direction, I would say.
And I think particularly the de-snaring project
Yes.
is a really good one.
Yes.
The people who support this, the companies that support this initiative, towards the de-snaring project. So in normal times, that would be lots of money, a cascade of money coming into the de-snaring project. But that tap has been switched off big time, and it's a real problem. And you can imagine poachers out there with snares. De-snaring is a really important thing to do for Serengeti. So that's personally what I would support.
Okay, brilliant.
Brilliant.
So great question. Thank you very much. We are overwhelmed by all your thumbs up. Thank you
Look at
so
all-
much.
those
Look,
are-
they're all thumbs up. Woo! Thank you.
So
Times 10.
We
Times
will
10.
come back.
thank you so much. So
Thank
basically,
you.
Nikki, just to summarize that, there's a great joint initiative between Tanzania National Parks, the Frankfurt Zoological Society, Tato, and the private sector for the de-snaring program. We are going to put down here, after this, we're going to put a link to the Frankfurt Zoological Society website where you can look at their de-snaring program and you can give some funds. So thank you so much for that. So from us,
Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
Thank you.
looking
Thank
forward
you
to
for
see you
watching.
soon.
And all the lovely comments.
Yeah.
so we really, really appreciate all your comments. Thanks for all the thumbs up, and look forward to seeing you very soon, around the 17th of June. I think we'll be back, something like that. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
See you there. See you next time.
Bye. Bye.
God, look at that. Isn't that lovely?
Oh, bye. Not yet.
We're still here.
We're still here.
We're still here.